I am Captain Boomies. You can find me at captainboomies.com. And I am a hound, not a sailor. Can I get another one of these? Oh, I'm not recording. That's a mighty impressive microphone you got there. Oh, I'm introducing myself. Okay. Hey, girl. Ahoy, ahoy.
Ow!
No, that's not. That's a weird thing to say. Ahoy, ahoy.
How not to sail. Screwing up is part of cruising. Let me show you how. Yar.
I am a 100-ton licensed U.S. Coast Guard captain. I have a sailing endorsement. I have a towing endorsement. I've gone up and down this coast. I've done the Caribbean a bunch, the west coast of Mexico a bit, and the Mediterranean. I started sailing before I could crawl. My father had no sons, but he did have 2 daughters, and we were conveniently strapped into those baby carriers that you wear on the front of you. And he would take us sailing on anybody's boat that would have him. I used to captain very large white yachts. Now, rather than spending all day, every day living on one of those big white yachts and managing a big team of deckhands and mates and engineers and stewardesses and pursers and all that wild stuff, I goof off on boats. The YouTube channel actually happened because I was in a West Marine and listening to a couple of older gentlemen talk to each other about marine sealants. And one of them was telling the other in a very authoritative way that, oh yeah, 5200 will solve all your problems. You should just slap that on everything you got.
No.
And it'll just... And I realized I needed to tell more people about this one particular boating thing that makes me nuts. This is 5200 Marine Adhesive Sealant. It's an amazing product that does exactly what it says.
Get out of here with that stuff.
And I never use it.
Never, ever use it.
Today we're going to show you why not with our handy dandy test boat. 4200 does the exact same job and it's removable. So if you have to do maintenance on something, you can do it like without ripping parts of your deck out. That kind of sparked an idea that I wanted to put out to the world. There's so many YouTubers out there who are doing really brilliant technical boating videos, and that's just not me. I'm a little rougher around the edges. I swear a lot. I can't really stop myself from having a little rum while I make my repairs because nobody's asking me to drive at that point. I can do whatever I want. The next one coming is actually about what I had to do while we're all on lockdown for COVID-19. And it's mostly a lot of pulling tape, honestly. I got this bad boy boat show extravaganza. In fact, that's the real reason I have a YouTube channel though, is partly for the hats, but also because my whole goal in starting a YouTube channel was just to get invited to boat shows for free. That's it. That's all I want. Please, invite me to your boat show. I love boats. I just want to talk about boats all the time. All of my captain's hats, they come from a couple different places, mostly boat shows, but also in my semi-retirement, I still do a lot of charters. And they're one-off charters, and they're usually like ladies' weekend for somebody's bachelorette party, which means that they insist that I wear something like this one. Or I've got a couple of those little sailor hats, but I always feel demoted when I wear them.
How not to retire.
1957 Chris Craft, and I blew it on the docking. I had to go to the T-head because I couldn't put it in the slip. It just was not going to happen that day. Oh man, I hated that day, but you can watch my whole stressful time trying to dock that very beautiful boat. These titans of industry would hire me so that when they showed up to their boat, it was in immaculate condition, ready to go. All the fridges are stocked with their exact beer, wine, food, whatever, and served to them on really, really beautiful platters by incredibly attractive women in tiny little skorts. I was on charter in St. Bart's on a very pretty boat, and we somehow screwed up and forgot to get the exact right kind of pretzel. And I know that doesn't sound like a big deal, and people go, oh, that's so ridiculous. But if you're paying $100,000 for your vacation, and there's a team of people who are supposed to make your vacation exactly what you want it to be, you have to get the right damn type of pretzel. My chief stewardess was crying her frickin' eyeballs out because she had made this big mistake. And it just happened to be that I knew somebody who was gonna be flying in to go work on a boat that was anchored out on the other side of the island. And I was like, all right, we can do this. So I had her load up her suitcase with the right kind of pretzel. And it wasn't like a particularly impressive pretzel. It was some shitty like Snyder's. No offense, Snyder's, I love you. So the friend's flying in, suitcase full of pretzels, and she gets helicoptered out to the vessel that she's going to start work on. And then I have to send one of my deckhands in a jet ski over across to the other side of the island to pick up her suitcase full of pretzels and get them back to us in time for this charter that's happening any minute. They were lovely charter guests, and I'm sure that they wouldn't have really cared about the pretzels, but as a popular charter boat, it was very embarrassing to have screwed up something that was put in bold letters on the dossier for our clients. You want to talk about Blackwater? Oh, I hold a serious grudge with my husband about a Blackwater holding tank inspection. He went to a party and the inspector showed up and said, I'm sorry, this Blackwater tank needs to be hosed down and shiny and beautiful. And I said, what? I'm sorry, my engineer's not here. Can this happen at another time? And he said, I'm not coming back for a month and a half. You won't have your inspection. So I got into a tank full of poo and I scrubbed the walls for, I think it took me 3 hours, all while this inspector stood over me, pointing at things, saying like, oh, could you make sure that's a little cleaner so that I could double check that seam? And like, can you get the underside of this part right here? And I needed him to pass our inspection, so I'm scrubbing and going, yeah, of course. I love everything I do. This job is great. So the U.S. Coast Guard is circling us because they don't want us to be going straight from Florida to Cuba. It's a little too suspect. And my captain is on the radio saying, yeah, we're just gonna put into Cuba for repairs. And the Coast Guard goes, no, you definitely cannot put into Cuba, sorry. You have to stay 12 miles off. So the captain starts scratching his noodle, and he says to me and the 3 other Americans on board that are crew, hey, what if I put you in the dinghy and leave you 12 miles offshore while I put in for repairs? I was young and I was dumb. And I said, I mean, I will, if that's really necessary. How much water can we fit on the dinghy? I hate that I said yes. I hate it. It makes me so angry at myself. But he dumped so much fresh water that we can't prime the water makers. So we have no running water on the boat anymore. And that doesn't sound like a big deal to most sailors because they're used to, those terrible toilets that you just kind of pick up out of the thing and toss overboard. I'm lying. Don't do that. Don't do that. The captain gave me a bucket. I'm very upset about this. And now we don't have air conditioning, so I'm sweating. I'm using a bucket. Everything is horrible. And now there's condensation building up on the marble floors of the entire main deck because we've got no air conditioning and it's getting hot. And we're hitting rough weather. So now we're sliding all around on this ice skating rink of a marble floor that's full of water. And I'm trying to use my bucket and the engineer takes it away from me because he thinks he's finally solved his problem and he stole my bucket. I'm like, you son of a... I hated that bucket. I'm sorry. I'm getting very red now just thinking about what a young, dumb moron I was for not yelling at that captain. How not to sail. Don't do it. Don't be afraid of doing your own maintenance. It's really not that bad. There's so many great YouTube channels out there that'll teach you how to do whatever it is that you're doing. The first thing I recommend to new boat owners is to clean their own engine compartment and do it with a rag and your hand. And the reason I say it is because it gets them at least familiar with what their engine looks like when they first got it. And they have to touch all the parts of it and hopefully remember what they're putting their hands on so that they can notice when things are wrong. And eventually that kind of love and care and hands-onness means that you absolutely can put your own holes in the hull. How not to sailors, I would like to introduce you to my engineer. Here, pull up a chair. He doesn't let me utilize him as much as I should, because the truth is, he knows a lot about boats, boat maintenance, all the equipment you could ever possibly want. He keeps track of all that and knows part numbers off the top of his head. It's kind of Rain Man-y. You creep.
I was mate engineer. She was teaching sailing, and we kind of occupied the same dock space. I was fresh from Louisiana, and my accent was so thick that a lot of the dock hands didn't think I spoke any English. So we thought each other were cute for a while, and we kind of just grinned like morons for an entire summer until one day she heard me speaking, I wouldn't say perfect English, but English. And we hit it off, and that was that. And then I tricked her into running away on boats with me. English and Australians and South Africans told me I was never going to get a job sounding like a bumpkin, so I had to get rid of the accent. But
it's so unfair.
If I get up in my cups, it comes right back out.
Y'all is a useful word. More people should use it.
People don't know this, but y'all can be plural and singular. Because there's y'all, and then there's all y'all.
Personally, I just like to call people
There's a bleep for you.
I'm sorry. Personally, I just like to call people
Jesus.
There you go. Sorry.
I will tell the story because it needs telling. Never be in a hurry. Always take the time to check your route, check your navigation, make sure that the channels are where you think they are. We were on a 103-foot boat with a brand new captain, and he, actually a friend of Bob Bitchin, and he was previously, right before this boat, was a sea tow captain. So this was his very first boat. He was very, very gung-ho, and he wanted to beat the owner back, who was driving back in his sports car, to the home dock. I had mentioned using caution, slowing down, and waiting for the tides to be correct because we were a 103-foot boat in a marina where the biggest boat after us was a 50-foot boat. On our way in, we dug our own channel during high tide, so getting out at low tide was going to be tragic no matter what happened. He wanted to beat the boss home, and so we set off, and he was in such a hurry that and the light wasn't great. It's not his fault, kinda, but he wound up navigating by swim buoys rather than nuns and cans. And we ran aground really hard, and I mean hard, because he also panicked. This is another thing to do. If you ever run aground, do not gun the throttle trying to make it over the hump.
Who's done that?
So he did that, and we basically beached it. And we're laying on our side, engines off, all the alarms are going, and we're thinking, how are we going to get out of this, And while we're thinking that and trying to figure out how to get towed off, we hear a knocking on the hull and look outside to see a lady in a bikini and a flowery shower cap knocking on the hull in waist-deep water, asking if we needed a push.
Do you have any words of wisdom?
No. Just enjoy yourselves, Odds are most people who recreational boat aren't going to sea for weeks at a time. They're never going to lose sight of land, so just enjoy yourself.
You can find me on pretty much anything except, no, I even have a Snapchat. But especially on my website, CaptainBoomies.com. You'll get some more pearls of wisdom out of this guy here. Sometimes. Subscribes are free.
I'll be right back. I'm dangerously sober.
Oh, we lost him.
Oh, we did?
Yeah. I can't believe he's using Marina Wi-Fi. Hold on, I just want to make sure I caught all my stories that I thought you might actually give a damn about. Boop, 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 a-doo, boop, a-doo. Ah, Cuba.